Okay. So hello everyone, and thank you for joining today. Today is a day of celebration actually, because Partisia Blockchain joined ERC token standard. Here we have Luc Falempin. He's a board member of the association, and for those who don't know, this is a token standard for real-world assets tokenization. I'm just gonna go briefly over it, and then I'm gonna introduce everyone here. So what this means is that this protocol is a suite of smart contracts that enable insurance management and to transfer permission tokens. Of course, it follows the Web3 crypto values, as in that it has built-in decentralized frameworks, and everything is meeting the predefined conditions set by this standard. And here today we have, from our team, we have Sirli. Sirli is our Chief of Growth. You've seen her giving speeches at many conferences, creating leads and onboarding projects. And then we have Matthias Glindborg, another superstar, and he's our head of product. So everything that goes well, it's thanks to him. So yeah, and we also have Bakit and me. I am the community lead, and Bakit is our head of communications. So now this is a complex topic, and I need you, Luc, to explain to everyone that's participating now, or to the people that are going to watch this video later on, what is ERC3643 and why is it important?
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having me today. So ERC3643 is not that complicated, except the name, because we didn't choose it when we declared this this piece of code to the Ethereum community. We got this number. So ERC3643, we have to deal with it. So it's a suite of smart contracts to tokenize real-world assets. So that's the main use of this suite of smart contracts. So it's a token protocol, a bit like ERC20 can be a token protocol, or ERC721 for NFT. So it's just another type of tokens, which is actually retro-compatible with ERC20. So you take a normal token and you add other function on top of it, and you get ERC3643. So basically, it brings compliance, it brings control functions on top of a standard token. And that's why it's compatible with any wallets, with any DeFi applications, etc., natively. But you can use it to represent on the blockchain real-world asset, financial product, cash, loyalty programs. Every time you need to issue tokens that you will control during the full life cycle, where you want to track the ownership of these tokens, where you want to manage the different operations during the life cycle of this asset, you can use the ERC3643 token protocol. So it's to do permission tokens, tokens that you can control directly on the blockchain. So it's for centralized issuances, but on a decentralized infrastructure. Because, for example, when you tokenize the financial product, it is actually centralized. You have an issuer legally creating a financial product. So it is centralized. You have some obligations, liabilities. And you as an investor, you have some rights. So you know exactly who is doing what. It's centralized, but now we are leveraging a decentralized infrastructure to make it digital and efficient.
And what made you create this standard? Does it come from some past experience that you had as an investor, or what prompted you to do this?
Yes, a lot of things, but basically in 2017, if you remember, for the OGs, it was the ICO craziness. So everybody was trying to deploy tokens and to build this new ecosystem. And for us, it was very important that we could bring good assets, valuable assets, represent all of this value out there in the world on chain. So we thought it was good to build the infrastructure for this. So not to work at the blockchain level, but to think about what we could do on top of it. That's why we focused on the smart contracts layer, not on the blockchain layer. And we realized that we could bring a lot of permissioning at the token level and not at the blockchain level. And why we want to do that is because to make it work, for blockchain to work, you need to create network effects. So if everybody is creating a private blockchain, at the end, you still have silos in the ecosystem. So like, okay, if you want to use public open blockchain infrastructures, we still need to bring some compliance and control. So we can do this at the token level, meaning that anyone who wants to issue a token can control what it does with who is interacting with, without reinventing the wheel for at the blockchain level. So we needed an advanced token protocol to represent these assets, to track properly ownership, and to manage the life cycle of these assets. In 2017, nothing was really there. You could do ERC20 tokens, very limited in terms of functions. You can basically check your balance and transfer them. So we needed to add much more functions. And step by step over the years, we have created this full suite of smart contracts. And last year, we decided that it was a good moment to push it as a standard for the whole market, to open source everything, and to bring all of our partners around the same table. So today in the association, that is a non-profit association promoting this token standard, we have global law firms, we have financial institutions, we have dozens of tokenization platforms, we have Web3 players, consulting firms, integrators. So everyone who is involved at some point in a tokenization project is around the same table at the association. Because it's really what we've seen for years is that you have techies who want to tokenize financial products, and you have financial people, people from the finance industry who want to tokenize assets, but they don't know it works technically. So with the association, we bring everybody together on the same framework, on the same standard, and they can build on top of this standard without reinventing the wheel every time they want to tokenize an asset.
You've actually answered one of the next questions I was going to ask you, which is why should the protocol actually join the association? So it's because it makes it easier. Indeed, they do not have to reinvent the wheel. They can just stick to the protocol, right? And it also gives credibility, right? If you're seen as a serious project following regulations and guidelines.
Yes, and it's hard work to be compliant, but flexible enough to cover all the different use cases in all the jurisdictions. Because everywhere in the world you have laws for securities. There are different laws, but they have the same principles. Like you have to track properly the ownership, so to know who owns what. You have some responsibilities, some rights and duties, etc. So we needed to enforce all of this. So the secret sauce of this protocol is to actually manage a lot of rules based on digital identities. So it's good to represent the asset with the token, but you also need to represent the different stakeholders, the issuers, the investors, the agents, and all of them will get an on-chain identity, which is a smart contract. And therefore, you can enforce rules and saying, okay, in this project, this person is or entity is the issuer, this one is an agent with this type of rights, this one is an investor, so cannot mint tokens, but he can transfer tokens, or that kind of things. So we really needed an advanced set of smart contracts. And now that it is there as a foundation for product issuances, we think it doesn't make sense for any type of players to reinvent the wheel. They can just start with this and build on top of it. It doesn't do everything. It's not magical, but it's a solid ground to build on top of it. So for blockchain networks, it's really important to understand this token protocol and to make it available for the whole community. So the whole community of developers, of project managers, etc., can just leverage this and save years of development and very quickly issue good assets on chain.
So we're making use of it. Are we bringing actually any value to the standard, to the association? This question is for you, Matthias.
Yeah, the short answer is yes, we will. And Luc, first of all, thanks for welcoming us into the association. We're really excited about this, and several of us we already jumped into the protocol and started to join some of the the working groups. Thanks for all the hard work, Shirley, to make this happen. And I think the nature of our team and project is a really good way to start for how we can contribute to this. So we have people who's been working in the traditional industry and enterprises for a very long time, and it's both technical and commercial people. So, for example, we have Ivan Damgaard, who helped develop the Merkle Damgaard hash function that underpins modern cryptography. We have some engineers who operationalize the confidential compute on our layer 1 blockchain, which is powered by MBC, but we also have co-founders and team members who really built finance, fintech, and markets before. So all of that applies very good to real-world assets, right? Because there's such a strong connection into the traditional industry. For example, the hundreds of trillions of dollars of value in traditional finance that will, in my opinion, eventually be tokenized because it's just such a better platform to build these things on. So we sort of understand that background as well as the Web3. I think very practically, and again, we just joined. We are looking forward to hear what you guys think we can contribute with. But I think we ourselves are trying to define a lot of the components inside real world assets. So, for example, digital identity, smart contracts. What does it mean to be compliant, and the whole idea about having smart contracts with that level of programmability is something we are very excited about. For example, the identity, right? It's sort of like we believe that's a key component, because you will sort of need to identify the organization, the person or the object behind transactions and ownership. So we are working on building a foundation for that, and also adding some privacy features on that, which we'll believe will enhance the privacy first of all, but also make it more compliant in the end. And when I say privacy, I'm not talking about private transactions or privacy coins. I'm talking about that you can have an identity and you can only present and verify what's needed to get a transaction compliantly done. So you also mentioned the programmability, right? You need a bunch of policies and programmability inside these contracts, so you can be compliant, but you also can orchestrate that ownership of value, which can be a lot of value in the end. And we've been developing some custody solutions, for example, where we have full programmability and we have some policies. We are trying to also apply this into the real world assets contracts to see how that could fit in. Another important topic we've been touching on is the whole idea about oracles and risk management in real world assets. So, for example, if you have a piece of real estate, just to talk about something else than finance, right? Like a house, and you tokenize that, and there can be multiple owners. You want to get a lot of information about this piece of real estate that can come from oracles. It could be about the conditions. It could be some of the financial stuff that's related to it, and then also look into the risk management and adjust it based on that. So eventually, a lot of all these things will exist on smart contracts, and it's on the blockchain. That's where people can look at, and information will come from the outside through oracles. So our idea here is with this membership and joining here is to come in with a lot of our ideas and help develop the standards, and then eventually we also want to adopt this foundation. And I think, Luc, that's really interesting. You say that, right? This is like sort of a foundation, and then you can take it and you can make sure you are within the same standard, so you can be interoperable, you can work from the same place, and then you can add on your own layers and features into that. So yeah, exciting to join. And
Maybe to add to it, as we are not Ethereum or EVM compatible, and this token standard is Ethereum-based standard, then we're also contributing with some of our internal developer heads and resources on figuring out how to deploy it on Rust-based native protocol. And we could also contribute to other native protocols that are outside Ethereum space on adopting this new standard.
And I think it's a very important point because so we're not philosophically attached to EVM. Just we are trying to make something that is as portable as possible, as compatible as possible by default with different blockchain networks, with wallet solutions, with DeFi, to do something that is flexible. And indeed, I think we are reaching a stage where this protocol, even if it's coded in Solidity, should be also available in other languages to be more portable on different type of blockchains. So I doubt that we'll be able to do 100% the same thing in another language because it always have some specificities, but it's not an issue. It's probably a way as well to optimize, to do better. So we are going in that direction step by step. On the Solidity side, there's still a lot of things we want to do. It evolves, etc. But I think it's great if finally we have some members of the association who have the skills to do better things, to do on other framework, other programming language, etc. So I think it's exciting. It's gonna take some time. It's not the low-hanging fruit, but it's great. And I really like as well all the work and expertise you can bring on the privacy side, because it's probably the last missing piece. Now we can basically tokenize everything we want in a compliant way, but there is always this issue between transparency and privacy, because yes, we want more transparency, more accessibility. That's why we use the blockchain. But at the same time, in finance, some information cannot be shared everywhere. You cannot try to sell your securities to everybody without any verification, for example. So we need to make sure that the right information is shared with the right person at the right time. So it's a full job. And it's a job where we need techies, where we need people from the financial industry, and all of them working together to know what we have to build. So it's gonna be interesting, I think.
It is, and actually, since Shirley, you're the one that introduced Partisia Blockchain to the standard, I think you're the best person to let the community know, to let the current apps built on Partisia Blockchain and the upcoming ones. Why is it important that we actually joined this initiative?
So I think on our last strategy meeting, just right before the summer, we decided to put heavy focus on DeFi and RWA, real-world asset tokenization, and also a subcategory within that being financial assets, as this is where the biggest liquidity and transactional volumes are, which we're hoping to convert onto Partisia chain. So we made that decision because of some of the previous things Matthias mentioned. We have a almost perfect platform infrastructure for that, containing the DID, the regulatory friendly privacy, jurisdiction management, and high scalability, infinite scalability. So one thing that was missing, I've been through the 2017 and 18 ICO and STO phase, and I think that this is one thing that was missing, the standard which would facilitate those transactions with the proper regulatory compliant built into the code standard. So and I figured that you've been building it out already for 7-8 years, but I stumbled upon you only this summer. So I'm super happy that I found out about this association, and it fits perfectly to what we are trying to focus and build out. And I think this partnership definitely brings the goals to execution.
Definitely. Yeah, this was highlighted by Kurt Nielsen, which is one of the co-founders and president of Partisia Blockchain. And indeed, I also remember when we sat down at the table and we said, okay, there's an almost infinite range of options or ways where we could have Partisia Blockchain, but the smartest options right now are DeFi and real world assets. So we went ahead with that. And this is just another step on that road. And Luc, the final question, it's going to be for you. What is the relevance of real world asset tokenization standard for the traditional finance? What does it have to do with them? Because it's Web2 kind of versus Web3 situation right now. Are we collaborating? What does it mean for both worlds?
Yes, it's evolving very, very quickly now. All of the large financial institutions are working on this topic with different angles, different projects, but they are all convinced that tokenization is the future. Is it in 6 months, 1 year, or 10 years? It depends their opinions, but they're all working on some projects. For large financial institutions, standardization is extremely important. For example, if you are a fund servicer, so you manage funds, and you have clients coming and say, hey, this is my token, and this token doesn't respect any standard, it's fully custom made. The fund servicer has to do a lot of audits and analysis to know if they will be able to fulfill their obligations, to trigger some functions, if it's compatible with their system, etc. Whereas now, if you arrive with your ERC3643 token, most of the large fund servicers will know what you're talking about. So they will say, okay, so we want the role of agents, and we want to be able to do this and that. We don't want to be the owner of the token. That's your issue. So step by step, the more it is standardized, the more you get compatibility and acceptance by the different service providers and the different services and solutions. So this is very important. Without standard, they don't know if your token is secure. They don't know who is doing what. They don't know the operational processes. So it will take ages. So especially for financial institutions, it's very important to use standards. Now, when we tell them, look, this is audited, you have all of this by default. Everything is documented, and you have 75 members in the association who know to deal with these tokens. It is more convincing than saying, okay, we'll do something from scratch for you. This token standard has been presented to, 25 regulators around the world already. So it brings some confidence. So standardization is really key, especially for large players. So it was not easy at the beginning because everybody was thinking, okay, I have specific needs. But now the more we document, the more we explain, the more we educate, the more the financial institutions realize that we understood their problem of compliance, of controls, and they step by step accept the standard.
So it's basically getting us closer to Web2 institutions by building trust and confidence, and also ruling out bad players, right?
Yeah, it's really a secure pre-made toolbox for them. And in the token standard, you can add very easily other smart contracts, additional smart contracts. We have what we call the modular compliance. So it's quite easy to add additional smart contracts for your specific needs without breaking the whole thing. So you still have the base, the core, which is to have a smart asset that you can control with permissions, and this identity system to track ownership and to make sure that only eligible token holders can receive your tokens. This is the core, but on top of this, you can add any other type of rules. If you don't want that any of your token holders get more than 10% of your tokens, it is possible. If you want maximum number of trade per month, if you want any type of rules you want to add, you can add a small smart contract on top of it without breaking the whole structure.
That's perfect. Can we assume then, this is a question for Shirley or Matthias, can we assume that tokens that in the future will be launched on Partisia Blockchain are going to comply with the standard?
Yeah, I think so now we joined the association to work together developing the standards, and just back again to what Luc he said, right, that there will be a foundation which we will adopt, and then on top of that we will build what's required from an adoption perspective, right? If there's some very specific features, policies, something like that, we are happy to adjust to that. But our intention is that the base should be the same, so it's interoperable. And also, if you imagine like the entire world's value being tokenized, right, it will exist on multiple networks, and for that to connect, you sort of need to work out of the same standard. So that's definitely our intention to conform to this standard.
Perfect. Well, this sets us up for a bright future. So thank you guys. Thank you, Sirli, for making this possible. Thank you, Luc, and thank you, Matthias, and also Bakit for helping us organize today's webinar. And guys, this meeting is being recorded, and it will be shared across our socials, and you can expect some headlines extracted from this conversation. So please retweet, like, and engage with our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.